He stood at the edge, staring at the path in front of him, his heart racing as if something invisible was holding him back. His feet refused to move, not because he couldn't walk, but because something inside him kept saying, "Not now." "Just wait a little longer," he whispered to himself. "I'll start tomorrow." Tomorrow felt safe. Tomorrow felt comfortable. But tomorrow kept moving further away, no matter how close it seemed. What if the barrier you feel right now isn't real at all? What if it's not the situation, not the timing, not the lack of resource, but something created inside your own mind? He didn't understand this at first. All he knew was that every time he tried to begin, something stopped him. You have felt this too, haven't you? That moment when you want to start something important, but instead you delay it. You scroll, you think, you plan, but you don't act. And the strange part is you don't even know why. Before this moment, he believed the problem was outside. He thought he needed the right time, the right condition, the right support. He kept preparing, thinking, waiting, but nothing changed. One day, he asked himself a question that made him uncomfortable. If everything was ready, would I actually start? He didn't answer immediately. Because deep down, he knew the truth. The barrier wasn't outside, it was inside. The air felt still around him. His thoughts grew louder. Every excuse he had ever made started to replay in his mind. "I'm not ready. I don't know enough. What if I fail?" These sentences felt real. They felt convincing. But for the first time, he began to question them. "Why not now?" he said out loud, his voice uncertain but honest. That question didn't remove the fear. It didn't give him confidence. But it did something important. It broke the illusion. Before, he believed he needed to feel ready before taking action. Now he started to see that readiness might come after action, not before. Imagine this. You are standing in front of a door that looks locked. You hesitate, you wait, you assume you cannot enter. But what if the door was never locked in the first place? What if all you had to do was push? That thought stayed with him. He didn't suddenly change. He didn't become fearless. But something shifted. A small decision formed inside him. Not to achieve something big, just to try once. So he did, one small action. It felt uncomfortable. It felt uncertain. But it was real. Nothing magical happened after that step. The world didn't change. No one noticed. But inside him, something quiet began to move. Before this, he had spent so much time thinking, planning, imagining, but now he experienced something different doing. The ground beneath his feet felt the same, yet his perspective started to change. The barrier he once believed in so strongly didn't feel as powerful anymore. Was it really this simple? He wondered, but the mind doesn't give up easily. The next day, the same thoughts returned. You should wait. This isn't the right time. You might fail. And for a moment, he almost listened again. This is where most people stop. Not because they can't move forward, but because the old pattern pulls them back. The comfort of delay feels safer than the discomfort of action. But this time, he paused. He remembered the small step he had already taken. He remembered that nothing terrible had happened. And slowly he made another choice. Just one more step, he told himself. Not a big decision, not a life-changing move, just one more small action, and then another. Each step felt similar, slight discomfort, slight doubt, but also a growing sense of control. Not over the world, but over himself. The barrier didn't disappear completely. It was still there, whispering, trying to stop him. But now it had lost its authority, because he had seen the truth. It was never as strong as it seemed. You might be waiting for the perfect moment. You might believe something is stopping you, but what if that thing is only a story you've been telling yourself? He didn't remove fear. He didn't remove doubt. He simply moved despite them, and that changed everything. He moved again, faster this time, not because the fear was gone, but because he no longer waited for it to disappear. His steps were still uncertain, yet they carried something new: momentum. And once momentum begins, it becomes harder to stop than to continue. "Keep going," he said under his breath, almost like he was reminding himself who he was becoming. Not someone who waits, not someone who delays, but someone who acts even when it feels uncomfortable. What if the reason you never start is not because you are lazy, but because you are trying to feel ready first? Think about it. How many times have you told yourself, "I'll begin when I feel confident," and how many times did that feeling actually arrive? Before, he believed confidence would come first. That clarity would guide him, that motivation would push him forward. But now he understood something different. Action creates all of those things, not the other way around. The path in front of him didn't suddenly become clear. There were still questions, still confusion. Still moments where he didn't know what to do next. But instead of stopping, he made a simple rule for himself: move, even if the direction isn't perfect. Do something, he told himself each morning, not everything, not perfectly, just something, and that changed the rhythm of his life. Before, his days were filled with thinking. Now they were filled with doing, small actions, small attempts, small progress. And over time, those small moments started to connect. It didn't feel dramatic. It didn't feel like a breakthrough, but slowly it became real. The silence that once surrounded his efforts started to shift, not loudly, not suddenly, but in a way that felt undeniable. He could see it, he could feel it. The barrier that once looked massive now seemed distant, almost imaginary. Why did I wait so long? He asked himself one evening. There was no simple answer. Only a quiet realization: had believed something that was never truly there. You might still feel that invisible wall in front of you, that hesitation, that pause before you begin. But what if that pause is just a habit? Something you've repeated so many times that it feels natural. He broke that habit, not in one moment, not in one decision, but through repetition, through showing up again and again, even when it felt unnecessary. The air felt different now. Not because the world had changed, but because he had. The same challenges existed, the same uncertainty remained, but he was no longer controlled by them. That's the difference. Most people think they need to remove fear before they act. But he proved something else: you can act while fear is still there. You can move while doubt is still speaking. You can begin even when everything feels unclear. Start before you're ready, he said softly, almost like a reminder to his past self, because that was the key: not waiting. Not preparing forever, just starting. Before this journey, he was stuck in a loop, thinking, delaying, waiting. Now he had broken that loop, and once it breaks, it doesn't control you anymore. The results didn't come all at once. They came slowly, quietly, step by step, but they came. And that was enough. You don't need to take a big leap today. You don't need to change everything overnight. All you need is one action, one decision that moves you forward. Because the barrier you feel, it's not real. It's not holding you. It's not stopping you. You are just standing in front of it, believing it exists. And the moment you move, even slightly, you will see the truth. There was never anything there. So stop waiting. Stop thinking you need more time. Stop believing that something is blocking you, because nothing is. Take one step, then another, and keep going. Because once you begin, everything changes, not instantly, but eventually. And one day you will look back and realize the only thing that was ever stopping you was the decision to start.